Oh, did you hear that? Okay, good. And oh, hi.
Hey, Manny.
Long time no see. Let me see if I raise your volume.
Hello, hello, hello. Check, check, check,
Can you hear
check.
him?
I can hear him.
Or is he low or
It's a little low.
okay?
Hello.
Let's see if we can do this right here.
The AV guy
Oh.
from the No Friends era.
Can you hear that?
I can hear you.
Okay. I wonder why that doesn't work there.
Hello.
Hello?
Hello.
Go again.
Hi. Hello. Hey.
That's better.
What's up, Manny?
Oh, brother.
What's up, baby?
Yeah. Hold on. Let me get this thing going right here. That's recording. This is good. Let me just make sure all the things are going. You know how it is. Oh,
We got Trevor Solberg on here too, guys.
yeah, Trevor. Let's see who we got. Yep, we got Trevor. His video and mic is off, but if he's ready to join, he's more than welcome. Perfect. We'll do this right there. There we go. Hi.
Hey, hey.
Let me do the intro, Jackson and Dubb. Let's get this show underway. What's up, everybody? This is Manny V, and welcome to Book Life. We're going to catch up with Dave Hubbard and see how he feels about his championship, where he is now, and what he's got planned in the future. And of course, Jackson throwing any questions. And Trevor, if you have any questions, please, by all means, jump right in. So what's up, brother? How you feeling?
So good. Feeling great. Stoked to be with you guys and seeing some of my friends from across the pond. You guys look great. Nice
Yeah,
to see
you do too.
Thank you.
Wow, clean shaven. This I like this. This is the Dubb that I like to see.
What, you didn't like the old Fu Manchu that he had going for a while there?
I was like, every time I saw him, I'm like, who's this homeless guy coming from around the trash bins? But nope, it was Dubb.
Back when he had the long Fu Manchu, every time I saw him, it made me think of Pai Mei in the Kill Bill movies.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Do you miss that hair? Do you miss the long beard?
Not at all, but I'm so glad I did it because people remember it and people always like to bring it up, and it's just fun to have different little appearances.
I mean, I look like this for as long as I can remember. I mean, I didn't do anything.
I remember
crazy.
orange hair. I remember blue hair.
Green,
all the
purple.
colors.
There was a reason why you were called the Manic Hispanic, because of your love of manic panic hair dye.
But I wouldn't. This is true. And actually, we ended up partying in Australia. I think of the guy who created Manic Panic in his mansion. We ended up at his mansion somehow. And I walked out of there with a box of like free Manic Panic hair dye color.
Nice.
But I think that's the shit that made my hair come out and fall out. So I should sue him. Just kidding. All right, Dubb. So bring us back to Maldives and what led up to it, because that's where it all came down to.
That was so cool. I love the Maldives or the Maldives. I still don't know how totally to pronounce it. So cool. The locals there are so welcoming. They're so excited to like hang out and share their culture and surf with you and chat, and but not like in an overly obnoxious way, but just so authentic. Love the locals. It's a super cool place, super unique place. It was just so different. When I went there last year for the first time, and then I'm just pretty into it. It's a cool place. So I love going there. They run a really great event. So I was stoked that their event had the opportunity to crown a world champion, because from somebody who helps to run events myself, I just know that could probably help them in promoting their event and getting funding again. And continuing to put on a really cool event that all us bodyboarders love to show up at. So that was one thing that was pretty cool, was that part of it. And my dad does some woodworking, and he wanted to give a gift to the president, so I got to give the first lady one of these beautiful wood platters that my father made. That was another kind of cool moment.
Oh wow.
Yeah, just a bunch of cool stuff. It was just a great time. I was smiling nonstop.
Awesome. I mean, we both haven't had the pleasure of going, but has everybody had the same kind of excitement when they show up and not only see the waves, but the attitude and the vibe of everybody?
Everybody loves it, from what I gathered and being with all the comrades. And everybody will have a different experience, just because of what we're up to, and we're living in different bodies, so we can't all have the exact same experience. But I would say that everybody has a good experience. Everybody wants to return. Everybody is giving it high recommendations to others. And the wave that we get to compete at, it's kind of cool. They were showing, maybe you guys saw, but a lot of drone shots that you can kind of start to see some of the refraction that happens once it kind of turns the corner, comes under the bridge, and does a little bit of refracting. And it's almost, there's a little bit of a Rocky Point vibe, where it's a peaky, almost a beach break, but it's breaking over reef. How kind of Rockies kind of has that vibe, where it's kind of refracting and nice kind of peaks, pretty flat, and sometimes shallow reef that it's breaking over, but it has all these different shapes, which makes it really fun for bodyboarding.
I from the angle of a lot of the cameras, it's hard to tell where the wave is coming from, because in the background is there an airport or a jetty back there?
It's an airport on another island.
Let me look on Instagram really quick. I think I found it. Check this out. Is this, because throws me off. Like when we see this photo, it's like, where does the wave come from?
It's coming from like the to the right hand side of the screen. Maybe not quite 180 at that point, but a significant, the wave had already done a pretty big turn by the time it's breaking, and this angle is shooting closer to the source of the wave, away from it. So yeah, the background is, there's no chance of waves coming from the background right there.
Yeah, it was it's pretty amazing, just some of the visuals that we get to see from the drone and the camera angles. And is it going to happen again next year?
I hope so. I mean, the event went wonderfully. I think everybody there is stoked on it. They seem to be kind of right on par for building up what they're trying to do there in the Maldives. So it's so cool.
Let's go back in time, leading up to the point. At what point in the event was it make or break, or was it in the final? Did it come down to the final or semifinal, or?
Yeah, final. So the way it worked out this year, as you know, for a fair few championships, we've had a one event championship. So typically that'd be in Sintra, Portugal. Yep. And it would come down to probably the final. Whoever won that final is going to be the world champion. And even in in years that we've had that event weighted, it mattered so much, it still probably came down to who won that specific event, even if we had some other events on tour. So this year it was kind of an even playing field. Most of the events, 3 out of the 4 events, had all the same points, all 2,000 points. Our event here on Kauai was a 1,000 point event, so that wasn't going to count into the title race. So because I had won Antofagasta, if I won 2 out of the 3, then nobody else can win 2 out of 3 because there's only one left. So that was basically the scenario. So it kind of it actually snuck by so many people, and my wife actually brought it up to the IVC guys and was like, "So are you guys ready? Like, because it could happen tomorrow." And they were just like, "I don't think so, but I'll check on that." They got a trophy made, rush ordered the thing, and they prepared themselves well for the possibility. Again, it was a possibility, and it was something that I was aware of, but not many other people were aware of until the final day, and they have to kind of run with that story because now it's
Oh
a
my God.
potential, and as I march towards the final, it's getting closer to happening.
So this was the second event and you already won the first one. So
And it was actually the third event because the Garden Island was a 1,000 point event. Sammy did win that, so he had good results, but that 1,000 point win wasn't gonna do anything really for the title. So he needed, somebody else needed at least a win to challenge what I already had going, which was a win. So, I mean, the dust settled at the end of the year, and I won all the 2,000 point events. So when I won in Sintra, again, it was like
icing on the cake.
yeah, and just that's what it was this year.
And you were right alongside another Kauai rider who I think did the same thing, right? Did she win every event?
She won every junior women's event. It's actually the first time in IBC World Tour history that somebody has swept that division. I mean, it's only been around a couple of years, but any of the divisions, winning every single one is almost unheard of.
Yeah, I jumped the gun, but let's go back. I know I got excited because I'm so stoked on her. But so you're in the final. Was it? I mean, I didn't get to see the points or anything, but did it come down to the wire? And who was in the final? Tell us about the final, because that's what pretty much nailed it for becoming the champ.
Sure. Yeah. So it was a really nice day of competition. Great performances by all the DK guys. So we had great quarterfinals. And even the guys who didn't advance into the semis performed well. Even the semifinalists who didn't join Sammy and I in the final, they were performing well. So it was really actually just a pretty epic day for drop knee competition. I was stoked on the level. And Sammy, he's so talented, but he's really somebody you have to watch out for in a heat, because he can get good scores off of sometimes kind of small or even medium-sized waves. So even though he probably wasn't surfing maybe up to his standard or his level, like he was surfing well, but I didn't think in any heat he had hit his ceiling. So that's a little, you're kind of watching for that, like, okay, this guy hasn't peaked yet, and I have to go up against him in the final. So I was hoping to peak in the final, which I felt I did. And I surfed it really well. It was a really hard fought battle. Not only were there close points, but I really felt that there was just like more required of me. I had to start like claiming my waves to get points. I felt like I normally don't want to like claim so many waves, but I think the energy was just kind of like leading towards, hey, I need to show them I'm excited for these waves, because I had a couple good waves that I cut out confidently, which is like a subtle claim, but it wasn't I think what the judges were hoping for. They wanted the fireworks of arms raised and punch in the air and the whole nine. So that also kind of played into it there at the end.
And the crowd on the beach,
they were just so stoked. And the Maldivian crowd is just so epic already. But it was just a really great battle, and a really hard fought, great battle, really exciting. I thought it was very entertaining, a great display of drop knee riding from both Sammy and I, as well as the rest of the field, and just couldn't be more proud of the sport, really, of drop knee riding. I was just like so stoked that, we're able to showcase at a great wave in the Maldives with great riders, and that we represent well for, the sport we love.
Epic. And what were who were some of the drop kneers that caught your eye? I know they all were ripping, but I'm sure there's one or two that were like, holy crap, this guy either hasn't peaked in his career, or like, who were a couple of the names that you saw that
I really felt Ian Campbell was through into the semis. He didn't make it there. But Fabian and Moz were also in the semis, and they were surfing really solid. And I think Moz, or Emery Laverne, for those who don't know his nickname, he's continuing to improve. He's known for his prone riding, but he is putting in a little bit more work to kind of get back to something he used to do when he was younger. And so I kind of feel his drop knee is really kind of coming along, and Fabian's surfing really well also. So those were kind of the top guys that I felt were surfing really good in the Maldives.
Do you think this format of the the 3 events plus the one will continue on next year?
I hope so, because we always have just ups and downs, and with competitive, the whole tour, we're one disaster away from losing events, like Morocco fell off the tour with that, tragedy there. I would be really surprised if government funding came back so soon as to get it on the calendar for next year. But whether it's, somebody, different political party taking office, and then they decide not to fund, just for some of the listener viewers who don't know, that a lot of these bodyboarding events are supported by the municipalities and the local tourism agencies. Even ours on Kauai, we get a lot of money from the local government and the Bureau of Tourism to run these events. So I hope they're there, but who knows what could happen. And so if there's 3 or 4 events next year, I'll be super stoked. That's great. I think that's kind of the healthy place for the amount of drop knee events on a tour, because I don't think we can afford a 10 event tour like the WSL, like that's just probably way too much for any drop near to be able to go travel for 8 months and do the tour. So I think having around 3 is a pretty cool number, maybe sometimes more, sometimes less, but I think that's sustainable.
Yeah. Well, for the world title, yes, 2 of the 3 events, if you win the big ones, then yeah, you're world champion. But for those that are, second place all the way down, how are you taking the top 2 events for your points, or?
Yeah. So it was the top 2 events out of all,
across the board,
you participated in, whichever ones you did, top 2 results count towards the ranking.
Okay. All right. I'm going to pull up your photo. So in the water, did you hear that you won not only the event, but also the title?
Well, I knew the situation, so I was ready for that situation. If I was able to come in from the final with the win. So
yeah, so obviously you made it to the beach. And who are these guys holding you up? Just the local guys?
Yeah, so that's Afnan with the hat on and the shades, and then that's Nye. They're both pilots and bodyboarders, and just became friends there in the Maldives. And it was so cool. They were just stoked to chair me up right there, and shortly after, my wife was there to greet me, and yeah, it was just a special moment. Great to have it in a new place.
I've been fortunate enough, and Jackson, we've been able to travel, as well. And we've gone to these places where, Puerto Rico, Chile, and they're good bodyboarding waves. And we've known that there's a bodyboard community. I didn't know there's a full-on bodyboard community there.
Right. Yeah.
How
So,
deep are they?
what's really cool is, the guys from that main island of Male, I'd say there's probably 20, 30 riders there. And that's the capital of the country. That's, I guess, probably where more of the resources are, or I don't know how to say, like, well-to-do. But anyways, they had a vision for a long time. They've been going to these far islands, these outer islands in the Maldives, and donating bodyboards, kind of giving them little lessons, showing them how to do it, and kind of equipping the people on the fringes there. So now there's little enclaves, on many of the local islands. So there's, I don't know, maybe I would guesstimate that there's probably 100 bodyboarders in the Maldives, and I could be way off, but that would be my guess.
And out of those, who did well in the event? I mean, do they have a presence against the top guys who come into town?
Yeah. So Ali, they call him Kuda Aya. He did well in the drop knee. He's kind of like their more stalwart, like he's been a guy on the top for a long time of both prone and drop knee. There's Jate, there's Dooney. Those guys kind of put up some numbers. There's some Groms like Ian and I should have brushed up on the names for the quiz, but the other junior that was in the final last year, they were both just in Sintra. It was great to see them both. And their names are a little unique, so it's not like Bob, Ralph, and Paul, which are a little easier for me to recall. But there was another rider who did really well, and I feel he probably made it the furthest in the men's, and I'm just going to be so bummed for the rest of the day for forgetting.
Oh no. Well, when it does come to mind, pull it up. If it does come to mind, then we'll put it in the description, and we'll make sure it's somewhere. Are you looking it up now?
Yeah, but we can keep talking.
All right. Araya. Wow. Holy mackerel. I mean, you've seen her before she came on the world tour. Like, did you notice her before, like, she made her stamp on the world tour?
Yeah, absolutely. She caught our eye maybe 3 years ago at the Garden Island Boogie Board Classic. And you probably saw her too. But I think maybe the year before you came, like, she surfed a heat, within the girls division. So it's I don't know what the age cutoff is, 16 maybe or something. And everybody was just like looking around and like, whoa, like, sometimes you have these moments, and a lot of times they are at competitions, when the public comes out and you get to kind of see somebody showcase their stuff who maybe you haven't seen before if you don't surf with that person at their local break. So she appeared and was like, whoa, this girl is special. She was probably only 13 or 14 at the time, and she was already drop kneeing. And what I remember about that year was the waves are kind of big, and she's drop kneeing the outside and like trying to do big floaters. And we're just like, okay, we're not really even seeing that in the DK division, let alone the young girls division. And so it's just so impressive. So yeah, she was stoked to join Team Hubbard's. We were very excited if she was interested to do that. And part of that is I want to offer all the resources and help I can for these kids. So we did a little bit of coaching for the last couple years, but then leading up to this year, definitely we started working more closely. The opportunities came her way, which were just amazing. I think you've had her on, so you kind of heard some of her story, which is just so cool, so awesome and exciting. So I was super thrilled to just be able to humbly offer some assistance in however I was useful, in the coaching part of that, as well as being along with Hubbard and trying to equip her to go there. And one part of it was cool, just as fellow Hawaiians in Chile. I cooked dinner one night and had them over, her and her mom, and just wanted to make them feel welcome, because when you're traveling, sometimes you're either in the culture or you're still kind of like a little isolated because everything's new and you're kind of just like, I don't know where to go eat and all these things. And just to share a little time on the road with her and Kauai, her mother, was super cool. Just even outside the coach or the team sponsor, but just as a fellow bodyboarder from the same island, was just so cool to share that.
Yeah, no, I mean, the interview was amazing. Mom was amazing. And the community that got behind her, like they were telling the story on, they would go by, I think it was chicken or meat or ribs or something, and they would cook it, and then people would come by, and like that was their way of raising the funds to be able to get her to where she needed to be to do what she did. And that's a lot of pressure for somebody that young to, people are donating money, giving you the support, and then for somebody that young to be able to understand, holy crap, I better do good, or but she didn't have to, like, her, when we interviewed her, her mindset was like on point and very balanced, and she understood what was at stake, but she didn't also let that cripple her when she did show up to these events.
Well, she definitely did better than good. As I was stumbling to say earlier, when we were kind of jumping the gun on the story, Araya is now the first woman in either the women's division or the junior women's division to sweep each event for that tour season. She's also the first ever Hawaiian woman to win a world championship. So, for someone so young, she's accomplished a lot. And it definitely doesn't hurt to add another champion to the Hubbard stable.
Yeah, and even just to add on some of those accolades, first woman from Hawaii to get event wins in Brazil, in Chile, and I'm pretty sure in France too, unconfirmed, but Hawaiian female bodyboarders have not won in those places before. So even just to get an event win, let alone get the whole title and sweep the whole, it's just so cool. So cool.
Well, as we all know, in women's bodyboarding, the Brazilian women have dominated for decades.
Oh yeah.
And then when things transitioned in the early 2000s, with the exception of Kira Llewellyn from Australia, it's largely been European women.
Yeah.
And then the last few years, we've seen the rise of the Japanese contingent. Ayaka Suzuki, the first Japanese world champion in bodyboarding, and then Sari Ohara following that up with 2 world titles of her own. And but it's really cool to see not just women's, but all of bodyboarding so blended. How is that for you, interacting with all these different cultures and different countries and traveling with all these different people?
Yeah, I think it's just such a cool part of bodyboarding that when we go to an event, like something I was thinking of was I went to the Maldives and saw like a couple riders, and they didn't look like locals, never seen them before, looked friendly, so I went and approached them. They're from Malaysia. They had a couple bodyboarders from Malaysia and like a whole little crew. And I was just like so stoked to meet them, hang with them, chat. They were excited to share about the waves they have back at home. And that's the kind of just like automatic thing we got with bodyboarding is we show up to an event, you see an unfamiliar or maybe a familiar face that you've never met, and you're just going to start hanging out with them. Like, I mean, even if you're not so extroverted, I'm not like a crazy extrovert, but I do like to meet people and get to know them. And especially, yeah, we have such a great opportunity in bodyboarding with the blend, like you said. One thing on that topic, I thought you were going in the blend direction of drop knee and prone, because that's another just amazing thing that Araya brings to the table. You know, she competed in Chile. She competed at the Garden Island. She made the quarterfinals at the Garden Island Boogie Board Classic in the drop knee division.
Drop knee open.
In just the drop knee. Just it's an open.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I do believe she also finished 12th in the overall rankings in the drop knee division on the World Tour.
Yeah, I think it's actually 8th because they don't.
All right, so she moved up from the last time I looked at the drop knee rankings, but the fact that a woman in the mix,
but yeah, no, yeah. So she did so well in Chile. Like I thought she even did better than the points said. It was a close heat, but I thought she made it through her last heat in the DK. But yeah, so cool what she's bringing to the table, not only for females, but just for younger kids to look up and see like, whoa, here's somebody who's not maybe far from me in age and maybe in circumstance and whatnot, and she's making it happen and making a big splash on the world stage, opening people's eyes, doing great in DK, absolutely crushing it in the pro junior women's, and so cool.
It wasn't a walk in the park. I mean, you have the likes of Neymar Carvalho's daughter, who was
Luna Hardman.
Yeah, who was a contender. And then when you show up to these, these events, you have the local riders as well that are stepping up. So it wasn't an easy job. But
it wasn't a gimme, no. And even from maybe a biased position where I feel that she is more naturally talented than some of her competitors, I think some of the other competitors occasionally could have better technique in certain maneuvers, and they have their strengths too. So in Chile, for example, she went up against Hanna Saavedra, Mutant's daughter, and she just sends it on rights. So she was going right, almost on lefts, but for sure just hitting closeouts. And those can turn into big numbers, So she was sending it. She wasn't a walkover, And the girl, I believe her name is Mar, who she competed against in the final in La Salle in France. She did an arse in her semifinal. So like she was like kind of right there too. And these were not easy, just walk through heats at all. Even, in France, since we're on the topic, like I was watching all the heats and staying up and whatnot, and her quarterfinal, her semifinal, final, she was in second place in all those one-on-one matchups for the majority of the heat up until the last few minutes when she turned it and took the win on each of those heats. And it was
Can you imagine her mom? Can you imagine her mom on the beach just getting gray hairs by the minute?
Nail biter heats.
It was very exciting. And I think that goes back to what you were saying, Manny, about how impressive it was for her to perform with whatever pressure she allowed to carry, which I would expect at that age to carry a lot of pressure, but get in those situations in the heats where, okay, I need to get a score. I'm in second place and there's the time's running out. You know, those are when you really push to the brink as a competitor, those are the times where you really get to see somebody's mental fortitude and how they're able to stay composed and still perform. So like each time she made it out of those situations, I was like, that's amazing. That's huge. Those are huge learning opportunities, you know, because I think I could be wrong. I'm not as stats guy like Steve, but you know, I think in most of the heats throughout the whole rest of the tour, she was in the driver's seat in most of her heats, starting with the lead or either getting a strong lead at, you know, before the halfway mark. So, you know, those were different situations that she had to learn how to compete through.
Yeah, she is definitely somebody to keep an eye on in the coming years. It's
Definitely a unique talent.
Yeah, I can't wait to see her more of her. Let me ask you this: what do you do when you come into those situations in these heavy heats to reel it back in and gain composure, knowing that, holy crap, I can get knocked out at this moment?
Yeah, I think it's, you know, experience helps, but having like some clarity and whether it's mental cues or practices that you can help to kind of calm your mind, because, you know, sports psychology has come so far in the last, you know, 20 or 30 years. Now it's like all the sports teams and all the main guys have somebody on their team who's going to help them with sports psychology. So the mental side is huge. We don't have, you know, the financial space to just have a sports psych in my back pocket. But I do talk to Daniel Zimbra from time to time, and he helps me out a lot. He's a great guy, fellow bodybuilder.
And why do you talk to him?
Well, he's a basically he's a psychologist. He's got his PhD and he's working on his license, and he's a fellow bodyboarder and a close friend. But all that in a roundabout way to say, you need to have a way to stay calm and focused in the heat, because it's so easy to let distractions or the situation, like, it's not that I want to ignore what I need. Like 3 minutes remaining, I need a 7-point ride. I'm second.
Oh, hang with us. I don't know if it's our internet or Dubb's, but that's such quite a good answer. He's about to unload. All right, we got you.
Yeah, we're back.
Okay, so
I'll pick up. So you want to be aware of the situation and have awareness, but you don't want to spiral out of control with, I'm running out of time, I need a big number, oh, I'm second in priority. You don't want to just start dreading and play the anxiety card and follow the train of thought away from your performance. You want to stay centered and just think about, hey, like, that's the situation. I'm just waiting for a wave, and I got to use my wave selection to get a good wave, and then I get my chance, and, you know, staying positive and whatnot. But really trying to minimize how much mental energy you're spending on the extracurricular, like how you said when you posed the question was, if I don't do this, I will get eliminated. That's already going too far. You're not in the heat at that point. If you're already thinking about a result that happens, the result only happens after the horn blows. So you got to be staying within the moments in the heat, in so far as, yeah, know the situation for sure. Don't like blank out, but, you know, stay in the moment.
All right. Trevor Solberg, he's watching right now, and he's got his drop knee heat coming up in Santa Cruz. So that could be some valuable information right there for you, Trevor. So Dubb, what's next? You went to Sintra and you had a great time there, and you took another win. And of course, I love Sintra. Sintra is like, so I don't know what it is. It's just Portugal in general, but I really enjoy Sintra. So really quick, some of the highlights you had in Sintra.
Oh, we had a great field. So many great riders, and David Valladares, who's now living in Tenerife, originally from Venezuela. It was just great to see him kind of reach towards the potential that I've noticed in him probably since back in maybe 2016, 2017. He kind of caught my eye. I brought some gear for him the next year, kind of styled him out, but he's since moved on, and I just wish him success with other sponsors. So it's great to see him kind of reach towards some of the potential that a lot of us have seen in him, that was possible. Ian came out, Ian Campbell, he was surfing really well. And that was cool to see. And so having a great field, great representation, that was super cool in Sintra. One thing that was special this year in Sintra, as I kind of spoke about previously, we've had single event championships or an event that was so weighted that it all came down to Sintra. And I've traveled to Portugal probably 8 times or more. That was the case. It was all going to come down to that event. And this year I was traveling over there and I was thinking about it. Hey, it's okay. Like, it's whatever happens at this event, like my goal for the year, the big goal is done. So it was so relaxing. It was just amazing. I've never had a trip to Portugal just so relaxing and just so like, I was really able to just soak it up. I stay in the present moment and I don't let the pressure get to me too much, but I could notice a difference.
Nice. Were you taking advantage of that and doing attempting maneuvers that you normally wouldn't do in heats?
I wasn't, but we did. I will say we had one of the best banks for drop knee that we've ever had at Praia Grande this year. Maybe the best, because as you guys know, it can be kind of a dumpy beach break. If it's kind of bigger, it can just kind of dump on the outside, or it can be really small, sometimes kind of weak, huge tides, a lot of factors at that beach. And this year there was this sandbar that was just kind of roping lefts.
Let me pull something up.
This is it. Like, we just get these lefts that would kind of peek up out the back, and then we just run through, and you could ride them like almost to shore.
Oh.
It was like the dream, the drop knee dream. It was so cool.
Was there rights too?
There was a couple rights. They weren't as long, but guys did get some numbers on rights. And it was, I would say it was just a great wave that front side or backside, you could rip that thing to pieces. I don't think any forehand or backhand had an advantage. It was just a nice paced, smooth wave. So front side, backside, like super rippable, so fun.
Epic. Sintra. So now what's coming up next?
Hold on. Before we move into what's next,
and I'll tell you the name of the Maldivian. His name's Sham. Big thing coming out of the Maldives. I just don't want to let that moment slip by.
Not what I was going to ask, but that's awesome that you came up with that. Having won your 10th world title and essentially being the most prolific drop knee competitor in the history of bodyboarding, has any of this really sunk in yet, or are you still just kind of enjoying the flavor?
I'm definitely enjoying it. There's some parts of that are sinking in. one thing that was really cool was Mike Stewart was down there in the Maldives, and we didn't need to talk about directly what had transpired, with me overtaking his 9 world titles, and now I have 10. But he was there and congratulated me, and he was super cool, and that was just special because there was a lot of talk about his record was the standing one that was to be surpassed. And so now it's kind of, to both of your questions, the sinking in part is like, yeah, I just want to keep participating because records are meant to be broken. And if I can make a record, which now I am holding one, I don't think I'll hold it forever. That's just not how records are. Records get broken and performances get surpassed. And as somebody who's so passionate about this sport, I would hope that somebody comes along and does better than the predecessor. So all that to say, in sincere humility, I'm thrilled to be holding this with open hands for the time being. It's a great accolade. I just hope it brings our sport more publicity. We've been trying to get and we have gotten on the news, and here in Hawaii people are kind of covering it, and that's an easy headline to write, that, oh, this guy got the most titles and he beat so and so, and now it's a record. So that's easy to write a headline about and get in the news, which again, I just want that to go towards our sport, because we need visibility, we need people coming into the sport at all ages. And so the sinking in part is it's there. I'd say like one of the few things, I'm totally enjoying it, like you said, the flavor. But one thing, because this is like subscribe only, it's a limited audience who's going to see this, right, Manny?
Yes, it is Bug Life subscribers.
Okay, since this is for subscribers, this isn't public knowledge, so I'm just going to share it with you guys. We are working on a video for Hubbard's 10th anniversary. And okay, I'm letting you in on more details than most. Okay. So don't share it too much, guys, you subscribers, okay? Just amongst the Bug Life guys. So my segment is going to be Just Drop Me for this Hubbard's 10-year anniversary video. And the part of the sinking in that you're talking about, that you asked about, Steve, is I was thinking, okay, if I'm going to compile all my best drop me rides from the last 10 years, then this segment should probably measure up. Even, it's okay if I'm not people's favorite drop knee rider. And I know some people have some favorites that I'm way far away from, and that's fine. But even still, this segment should probably measure up. That's all I'm saying about sinking in and legacy. And now I have 10 is like, well, if I'm at this level and I just make a compilation of my best waves from the last 10 years, it should probably be a very good drop me segment. So I'm excited about that, because there is that pressure of like, well, shoot, it's got to be like insane, but those are the things that help push the sport. And I'd love to have a segment out there that people have to get excited for drop knee about, or they show their friends, as far as like, hey, this is what drop knee is, or whatever, fill in the blank, whatever reason they have to watch it. I'm just excited to share that, and I hope it lives up to whatever expectations anybody has for it.
I can't wait.
Oh my God.
I don't even
When is this
drop
coming
knee,
out?
but I've always loved drop knee. You got me salivating right now to see this video segment. I cannot wait.
Yeah, you don't have to. I know it's not to prove something, but man, just watching some of the maneuvers that you've completed that I've always wanted to do is like, son of a bitch, he's doing it. Like the roll, I'm like, oh my God, I've been trying to do that forever, and seeing you complete it was like, okay, yes, it is possible. And you did it so flawlessly. It was like, that is stuck in my mind. But yeah, when can we see this?
I think sometime around the holidays, which is coming up, hopefully in the next couple of months before the end of the year.
How do we get our hands on it? And do we do a premiere on Bug Life?
I'm sure we're going to be releasing it on the Hubbard's YouTube, and just as a part of the holiday promotion leading into the holidays. So
Epic.
I'll make sure you know.
Yes. All right. So yeah, that is enough for future. I mean, that'll carry us over until the next Bug Life interview. We got Matt, I believe, and Trevor. Do you guys have any questions before we say our final words with Dubb? I think I need glasses. I cannot see the screen. It's like maybe 3 feet away. So let's see if we can get these guys on. Can you see, Jackson?
It's like an eye doctor's chart right now.
Yeah, cover one eye, Manny. That helps sometimes.
Oh my God. Well,
I'm pleading the fifth right now just because I have a scratched cornea that I'm healing up from. So my vision's not the best it's ever been at the moment.
All right. I think I found the questions. I asked them to unmute and or start their video if they have a question. If not, that's okay too. But Dubb, the Kauai, the Garden Island Boogie Classic going again next year.
Yeah, it's on the schedule. Or actually, I don't think we have a date. I think we have to wait for the first of the year to apply for permitting. So we hope to get those dates out as soon as we have them. But we are looking, all systems go, for the 6th annual Garden Island Boogie Board Classic.
Awesome. All right, Jackson, before we say bye, you have anything else you want to throw out there? Because we're gonna see you again before the holidays, hopefully before the video launch, so we can talk more about it when it does become like the hype zone where we can talk about it. Jackson,
all I can really say is thank you for everything you've contributed to the sport of bodyboarding, and as a friend, I want to extend my sincerest congratulations. You've earned every step of the way, and it's always been fun to watch.
Thank you, Steve. Those words are special to me, so thank you so much.
Epic. And I love you, brother, and your wife too. I am still looking for the videos from Panama, which I don't know where they are, but I do have a couple. I'll send them. I think I already did already, but yeah. Your house, you always have a place to stay here in San Diego whenever you two need to cruise by.
Thank you.
And any words you want to say to the people listening?
Thanks for having me on, Manny. Great to have you joining us, Steve and Trevor and Matt, and yeah, all the other Bug Lifers who are gonna watch the recording or listen. Yeah, thanks for tuning in.
Epic. All right, tell the lady hi and all the family, and hopefully to see you in person sooner than later.
Sounds great.
Congrats, brother. I'll talk to you later.
Thank you. Aloha.
Aloha.
Recording ending.
I need to have that 10 seconds because it's recording. All right. Later.
Hey, wait, stay on.
Yeah.
But we can cut the live or the
no, it ends.
That's fine. Matt can stay on. Hey, I was thinking about doing this like a little podcast thing. It seems to be all the rage. Doesn't seem to be complicated.
It's I'll give you everything that I got here. I would like show you how to do it. And I'm all about like the more people, because there's so many stories that have to be told. And you're right in the middle of, the hub of Hawaiian bodyboarding, and you have access to so many riders on your island, let alone taking a flight over to, Oahu or any other island. Like, it's so hard for me to like nail down these guys. Like, I know I've been asking them for years. Joey Vieira, all these guys I've been trying to hit up, but for those kind of guys, like knocking on their door, hey, what are you doing? Let's chat for an hour, boom, record. And because those stories need to be told, because you don't know where they're gonna be 5 years from now. They could be dead, and their stories are gonna go with them to the grave, where these bodyboarders should have these stories to remember and to have their legacy live on. So yeah, anything you need to know on how to get this thing going, yeah, I'm totally whatever you need.
I would love to see the Kauai Classic guys or anybody who is involved with Bob Sato check down to talk story about the history of Kauai Classic.
Yeah.
Because for me, those guys had such a massive influence on the sport of bodyboarding. And Bob Soto was the mastermind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's, but I'll tell you this right now, it is work. It is work,
Okay.
setting time aside, and like it, once we click end, there's still more to do to get it and distribute it to the Book Life patrons. So it doesn't just end when you press end on the recording. There's a lot more. Like if I were doing it right, this audio would go to an audio editor to get all the hisses or baby crying, all these little noises out, but we do it raw here. And same with the video. The videos would be HD from beginning to end. But I think what we got here is pretty solid. So I can give you all the, the do's and don'ts, and whatever else you need, because you're right there.
Yeah, cool. Because it's something, Jeff brought it up last time we were hanging out, and he's like, everybody's doing it. Seems like kind of the thing. And like, it's also like you mentioned, great way to record and kind of archive some stuff, but also just a great way to stay, continue engagement and engage with the rest of the bodyboarding community. And
yeah,
the stories you yourself alone could tell from over the course of your career. Yeah, I'd pay money for that.
Exactly. So that's the thing. It's like documenting the stories. The reason why I started this was I wanted to get everybody's beginning, where they started, documented and have it archived. So if people want to know, oh, what board did Guillermo Tamega first start on? Where did he, what fins and what beach? And so those were the questions that we did during the interview. But that was the basis of Book Life. Find that one thing that you want to, like, draw out from your guests and make it. You got to have like a goal, and then don't give up, because it is work. And there's going to be a time where like, fuck, this is so much time. And there's no, but you guys are in a good position right now.
Cool. Thank you.
Do it.
For the encouragement, and I'll definitely hit you up for the do's and don'ts.
You got it.
Nice.
All right, hombre.
It was a pleasure chatting and hanging with you guys. Have a
Always a
great
pleasure, Dave.
Aloha. Recording ended.